Real value always.
We're broadcasting live from our Pokusol studios right here in Highlands, Harare. My name is Zain Jamu and welcome to the main news. And of course, it's always a lovely evening to you, Joyce.
Well, good evening to you, Zain, and thank you once again for joining us on tonight's edition of the main news. My name is Joyce Mabika. Susan Masona is on sign language.
And of course, later on, Marilyn Gwenya will be joining us from our Montrose studios. But we kick off this bulletin with the headlines.
Marketing Zimbabwe as an investment destination of choice high on the country's agenda.
This came out during an address by His Excellency President Emmerson Mnangagwa to Zimbabwean ambassadors at the State House in Harare this Wednesday.
The telecommunications sector experiencing a surge in mobile phone subscriptions.
And in sport, Simba Bora lifted the 2024 Premier Soccer League title.
And I'll give you these and more stories in detail. President Emmerson Mnangagwa says Zimbabwe's representatives in various capitals should market the country as an investment destination of choice due to its abundant natural resources.
He was addressing Zimbabwean ambassadors at State House in Harare this Wednesday. Our chief correspondent, Ruben Barwe, gives us more.
Zimbabwe's envoys who were in the country and attended this year's ZANU-PF Annual People's Conference and at a strategic retreat in Gweru mapping the way forward, were at State House in Harare to get the send-off message from the President, Comrade Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, before going back to their stations. President informed them to shift their thinking, their imaginations, and their approach in their respective stations vis-à-vis the country's new foreign policy thrust.
You must be more agile, adaptive and innovative to guarantee that our beloved motherland derives the most favorable benefits from this reality. Zimbabweans, by nature, are not a people who mourn or merely complain. We are action-oriented, a resilient people and trailblazers. I expect these traits to be evident in the results that must come from your respective missions. Notable growth milestones are being recorded in spite of the legal sanctions and the impacts of climate change, particularly in agriculture, in our mining, education and infrastructure development, among others.
Zimbabwe's land reform program is done and dusted, and now thousands of farmers are now treating farming as a business, following the visit to the precab farm of the president by the diplomats.
As a nation, we focus, hard work and sacrifice, we can achieve great exploits at individual level. I also challenge you to make a mark by contributing to the prosperity of our motherland, Zimbabwe. You, as our ambassadors and representatives, are the face of our great country. I expect you all to mount a formidable campaign.
On a parting note, the president said, go and advance Zimbabwe's development agenda wholeheartedly.
You are directed to stay vigilant and abreast regarding regional and global dynamics. The protection of our sovereignty and national interests must always be paramount.
Giving a vote of thanks to the president's speech, Ambassador Kufa Chinoza, the dean of all Zimbabwean diplomats, said they vow to do their best in their respective stations.
We also had the opportunity to visit the cutting-edge National Pathology Research and Diagnostic Center at Midland State University. This facility is revolutionizing the medical industry by providing services at reasonable costs and helping residents receive top-notch care. Your Excellency, once again, I wish to thank you for your guidance and leadership as we implement our mandates at various stations around the world. Your Excellency, count on us playing our part to make sure that your vision of an empowered upper middle income society in 2030 is achieved.
Zimbabwean diplomat performance will soon be measured in their line of work in what they do to enhance the country's economic performance, according to the Zimbabwean top diplomat, President Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, Harare.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa has congratulated Donald Trump for winning the 2024 United States elections.
In a message on his social media platform X page, President Mnangagwa said Zimbabwe stands ready to work with Donald Trump and the United States for a better world. President Mnangagwa joins other world leaders who have congratulated Trump on his election feat. Trump won in the November 5 plebiscite after securing over 270 out of the 538 electoral votes. The former president addressed supporters in Florida in the early hours of Wednesday morning, thanking the American people for their support. He pledged to fix America and usher in what he called the golden age of America.
So I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And to every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve.
Kamala Harris is yet to concede defeat or address Democrats' supporters. The apparent win by Donald Trump means the criminal cases brought against him will end for the next 4 years. Trump has been faced with 4 simultaneous prosecutions over allegations ranging from his attempt to cover up a hush money payment to Stormy Daniels during his 2016 campaign to his attempts to overturn his 2020 election defeat. Several issues, including the Middle East and Russia-Ukraine war, abortion debate, along with cost of living in the U.S., topped the campaign for the 2024 U.S. presidential election.
The government says the Mbudzi interchange project is on course to be completed this year, with revelations that a section of the bridge linking to Simon Mazorodze Road is said to be opened to traffic.
According to the latest position presented by government, another section of the Mbudzi interchange will be opened to traffic before the festive season as authorities accelerate completion of the mega infrastructure project. Transport and Infrastructure Development Minister Honorable Felix Mona noted the project is still within range for finalization, as 13 out of the 15 bridges needed for the Mbudzi interchange are now complete.
Our target hasn't changed. This year in December, to say to those people who will be going for their Christmas, you'll be enjoying, especially going to Masvingo and coming from Masvingo over the new road. If you have seen now, we've started the installation of pre-stressed beams, where we are working on bridge number 2 and 3. Out of the 15 bridges, those are still the remaining 2 bridges.
The design for the Mbudzi interchange is made up of 15 bridges. Amalinda Bridge is now open to traffic, as well as the Masvingo-Glenora Loop. Government has also outlined plans to decongest the anticipated traffic flow from this project.
The ZBC Mbare, we are going to have a mini interchange. Actually, along the road, we've got 5 interchanges. So at the ZBC, you'll see a mini interchange, and Rothmans Willowville Road, we are going to be having another mini interchange, so that we decongest those that are actually moving within Mbare area, and those actually going out of town will be taking advantage of those mini interchanges.
The multi-million-dollar Mbudzi interchange project is one of the major projects prioritized under the Second Republic, directed to modernize the road network and improve intra-region connectivity.
Government's livestock recovery and growth plan has received a major boost after the launch of a modern animal health plant in Harare this Wednesday.
Agricura, a subsidiary of TSL Limited, launched its animal health plant in Harare in a groundbreaking development for the much-needed medicinal animal husbandry products. The firm's Agri-Inputs General Manager, Mr. Collins Muchenje, highlighted how the new plant is expected to contribute towards growth in the livestock sector.
We embarked on this journey in April last year. It took us more than 1.5 years to complete the project. Basically, this facility complies with good manufacturing practices. What we do here is we manufacture dewormers, animal health remedies for cattle, for sheep, and for goats. What we are doing is to try and make sure that we provide the right solutions for all our farmers, be it small scale, be it medium scale, be it commercial, with the right dewormers. And we think this project will help in the growth of the cattle industry in Zimbabwe.
Guest of honor at the event, Deputy Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Honorable Davis Marapira, noted the national significance of the animal health plant in the development of the livestock sector.
Today, we are not just inaugurating a manufacturing facility. We are laying the foundation of a healthier, more resilient future for our livestock and our people. This state-of-the-art manufacturing plant will provide our farmers with access to critical veterinary medicines, ensuring that our animals are healthy, resilient, and capable of contributing to the prosperity of our nation. The government of Zimbabwe recognizes the pivotal role of livestock on our nation's economy.
The Second Republic is employing various strategies to grow the livestock industry through ensuring a healthier and more resilient future for the country's livestock. Farai Gwaze, ZBC News, Harare.
The government has called for increased investments in solar power generation as a key enabler towards attainment of Vision 2030.
Last year's poor rainfall season saw the country's key power generating source, the Kariba Dam, struggling to keep up with the country's power demand due to decreased water levels. This resulted in increased load shedding, which also ironically served as a wake-up call for the country to invest in alternative power generation methods. Independent power producers, IPPs, are also coming on board, with the latest input being a 25-megawatt solar plant through the Nyabira Center Grid solar power plant.
We've successfully completed the expansion of our plant to 25 megawatts, and now we want to begin a phase 3, which should take the plant from 60 to 60 megawatts or 100 megawatts. I think we're probably a few months away from finalizing the modalities for that to happen.
The locally funded solar power plant is part of efforts by government and the private sector to embrace clean and renewable energy.
It's a very significant step towards fighting the climate change that's currently happening in the country by going green, because what it means is we are cutting the carbon dioxide that we are producing and the other greenhouse gases that we are producing and feeding into the atmosphere.
Mashonaland West Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Marian Chombo, who told the plant this Tuesday is upbeat increased investment in solar accelerates the country's modernization and industrialization agenda.
For us to be able to meet the Vision 2030, according to the President, we have to make sure that we supply power to all these industries that are opening up. So as one of our initiatives as Mashonaland West, we make sure that we produce more and more power. And what prides ourselves is that this project here is fully financed by locals.
Government is implementing various strategies which include the National Energy Efficiency Policy with a target of boosting renewable energy capacity to 1,100 megawatts by 2025 and 2,100 megawatts by 2030. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Nyabira.
The Southern African Development Community SADC senior officials responsible for health say it is critical for member states to work together to craft solutions that will improve the health sector in the region. Let's get more.
A two-day meeting held in Harare brought together SADC senior officials responsible for health and HIV and AIDS to discuss on ways of improving health provision in the region. The meeting set the tone for the regional bloc's joint meeting for ministers of health and those responsible for HIV and AIDS to be held this Thursday in Harare. Zimbabwe's permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health and Childcare, Dr. Aspect Maunganidze, who chaired the meeting, says they came up with recommendations which will be handed over to the ministers for consideration.
We deliberate on various issues affecting our region in terms of health, in particular topical issues including the emergencies in public health. We discuss other matters affecting health, including health financing.
SADC Executive Secretary for Regional Integration, Ms. Angela Makombo, noted that the meeting was fruitful.
It's a very important moment because we have to look at the status of the health situation in the region, and we see that member states have made a lot of efforts. There have been progress on certain issues, but we have challenges, new, for example, Mpox.
The ministers will deliberate on public health issues aimed at contributing to the attainment of improved quality of life of people in the region, examine the status of implementation of decisions from previous meetings, and to review the state of health in the SADC region. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
The United Nations has expressed commitment to supporting Zimbabwe's development agenda with emphasis on integrating global access to food systems, energy-enhancing digital connectivity, and advancing social protection.
Diplomats, government officials and non-state actors converged in Harare this Wednesday to mark the country's commemorations of the 79th anniversary of the United Nations. UN Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator Mr. Edward Kalona expressed commitment to supporting Zimbabwe's developmental aspirations.
In Zimbabwe, our commitment is evident through the Zimbabwe United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, partnering with government, member states, non-governmental organizations, civil society, youth and women's movements, and the private sector. This cooperation aims to tackle national challenges as outlined by the Secretary General Guterres, including revamping food systems, ensuring energy access, enhancing digital connectivity, promoting education and jobs, advancing social protection, and spearheading climate action.
This year's anniversary is also marked by the UN's Pact for the Future. It was recently adopted in October, and it's a global commitment to work together for peace and sustainable development, and not only for 2-3 years, for generations to come.
Government as well as non-state actors noted that there is harmony between UN goals and the National Blueprint, the National Development Strategy 1, in propelling sustainable development.
We take pride to align our efforts with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. SDG 6, access to clean water sanitations. We operate state-of-the-art waste treatment plant that effectively treats leachate, ensuring clean water management and protecting our water resources. SDG 7, ensure access to affordable, reliable, and modern energy for all.
The government and people of Zimbabwe remain grateful for this support and for the commitment by the UN in Zimbabwe to continue to support Zimbabwe within the framework of the United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework. That the cooperation framework between the government and the UN in Zimbabwe aligns with our own National Development Strategy 1.
The belated 79th anniversary commemorations of the United Nations are themed Sustainability in Action, with climate change peacekeeping missions to addressing hunger, poverty, health crisis, and education disparities being major highlights. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe expects to utilize a strategic location as a gateway for Russian businesses to enter the SADC and COMESA regions, using the good relations between the two nations to further economic interests for both.
This Wednesday afternoon, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Professor Amon Murira, who is in Russia for the 5th session of the Zimbabwe-Russia Intergovernmental Commission for Trade, Economic, Scientific and Technical Cooperation, met with KAMAZ Group of companies, the largest truck producer in the Russian Federation and one of the world's top 20 heavy-duty truck producers.
Zimbabwe and the Russian Federation have got a very strong strategic relationship, and within this relationship we are having an intergovernmental commission meeting in the Russian Federation, and we are taking this chance to meet with strategic companies to encourage them to do business with Zimbabwe. And one of the strategic companies is KAMAZ. And we have had very fruitful discussions about possible investment by KAMAZ into the Zimbabwean and African market through Zimbabwe. They manufacture a variety of vehicles, state-of-the-art vehicles, heavy vehicles, and buses as well. So our discussion is to explore different avenues that we can use for KAMAZ to be present on the African market.
KAMAZ is looking towards entering the Zimbabwean and regional markets, as well as identifying the type of trucks that are in demand in Zimbabwe, SADC and the COMESA regions.
We are now looking for a partner who will help us enter the Zimbabwean market, conduct the analysis of the Zimbabwean market, and carry out the competitive technique and devise a competitive technique for the Zimbabwean market as well. Actually, when we were calculating the feasibility study for the assembly center, for the assembly factory, we calculated that at least 500 vehicles of manufacturing will be required per year in order to enter the break-even point. Thank you very much for manifesting your interest, and we are also encouraged by this.
Meanwhile, senior officials from the two countries met this Wednesday for the 5th Zimbabwe-Russia Intergovernmental Commission for Trade, Economic, Scientific and Technical Cooperation, where they confirmed their willingness to strengthen bilateral ties. Olin Ndori, ZBC News.
You're watching the main news. These and more stories are available on our website. You can visit www.zbcnews.co.za.
Or you can get in touch with us on our social media handles, that is at ZBC News Online.
Still to come in this bulletin, in business news, telecommunications sector experiencing a surge in mobile phone subscriptions.
In sport, Simba Bora lift the 2024 Premier Soccer League title. The main news takes a breather. We'll be back with you shortly.
EcoCash gives you more. EcoCash points are our way of saying thank you for being a loyal customer. You earn points every time you use EcoCash to send money, make payments, buy airtime or cash out. These points accumulate and can be redeemed for voice airtime, data or SMS. You can start redeeming your points once you reach 100 points, and redemption is in multiples of hundreds. To redeem or check points balance, dial *151 *7 hash today. Terms and conditions apply. EcoCash gives you more.
When I started out, life was tough. I learned I was not alone. The other women supported me. I started my own small business, and slowly, very slowly, life got better. Today, my business is thriving, and I'm able to provide for my family. And I'm grateful for the friends who are there for me. After all, we all need a friend. Zimgold, your trusted friend.
This message is brought to you by the government of Zimbabwe.
We are excited! The Regional World Children's Day celebration is coming to Zimbabwe. 16 November, Victoria Falls.
Baba Primary School rose to life.
It is a celebration of Zimbabwe's milestones in children.
A celebration of our rights
and responsibilities.
Right to education. Right to protection. Right to shelter. Right to food. Right to health. Right to safety.
We are grateful for all the strides the Second Republic has made in child protection, and we are excited to be celebrating these with many children from
Malawi, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, South Africa, Mozambique. You don't want
to miss this.
16 November 2024, Victoria Falls at Baba Primary School. Come and celebrate with us on our Regional World Children's Day celebration.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Government has projected a 6% economic growth rate next year owing to the great resilience despite the El Nino-induced drought. Let's get more from the following report.
As part of efforts to give legislators an opportunity to present findings from nationwide consultations, a pre-budget conference commenced this Wednesday at the Zimbabwe International Exhibition Centre, ZIC in Bulawayo. During the seminar, the Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, Professor Mthuli Ncube, said, with the economy having displayed resilience, going to 2025, the macroeconomic framework indicates that the nation will experience a growth rate of 6% in terms of gross domestic product.
And going forward into 2025, as I said, we expect a growth rate of 6%. We expect in terms of GDP, our revenues to remain at about 18% of GDP.
He further emphasized that the 2025 budget will seek to strengthen revenue inflows through paying attention to the 14 pillars defined in the National Development Strategy 1.
But in terms of priorities, we expect, as I said, to build resilience and in order to deepen economic transformation. And where we'll focus on the 14 pillars that we've defined in NDS 1, which have to do with, again, maintaining macroeconomic stability as a precondition for economic growth.
The nation is also projected to experience an upward trajectory in terms of remittances.
We expect that with the introduction of the Liquidity Management Committee and other measures taken between the Reserve Bank and the Ministry of Finance, that we will manage our liquidity, and we've begun to do so in a way that will constrain some of the fluctuations that we have seen that cause pain in our economy and to our people.
Giving key remarks at the conference, the Speaker of National Assembly, Advocate Jacob Mdenda, emphasized the need for the 2025 national budget to be people-centered through leveraging on the nationwide pre-budget consultations conducted.
The concept of pre-budget seminars underpins Parliament's compelling desire to share synergies with the executive in the budgetary democratic processes that should result in a people-centered budget for the ensuing year. As you heard for yourselves, the people were speaking, indicating that they must be the center of the budget that we are going to craft and pass.
The pre-budget seminar will run for 4 days ahead of the national budget presentation later this month. Lisa Masuku, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
The stage is set for the National Youth Empowerment Forum to be held at Magamba Vocational Training Center in Mutasa District this Thursday.
A National Youth Empowerment Forum is set to be held at Magamba Vocational Training Center in Mutasa District this Thursday, where a number of projects will be commissioned.
Preparations have reached an advanced stage. All the works which are relevant hosting such a high-level event have been done. The province is now ready. We are expecting our guest of honor to commission a number of projects that were successfully implemented, namely computer laboratory, a refurbished students hostel. You also commissioned the institutional business unit in the form of fish ponds and a horticulture garden. So we are calling upon all the people of Manicaland, particularly our youths, to come in their numbers. It will be a day of celebration of the good work being done by the Second Republic.
Youth and students at Magamba Vocational Training Center and other youth centers across the province are full of praise for government efforts to empower them.
Toda kutenda zvikuru this program yatakaunzwa nemukuru youth empowerment program iri kutibatsira zvisingaiti nekuti we are being exposed kune zvemabasa emaoko.
We would like to thank the government nekuti trainisa this training because tine zvinhu zvataona zviri kutibatsira zvakawanda. Tine life skills atiri kudzidziswa akaita sekurima, kuchengeta zvipfuwo.
Toda kutendawo mutungamiri wedu wenyika Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa nekutiunzirawo program yawakatiunzira pano yekutivhurira chikoro chedu chino cheMagamba. Tiri kutendawo chaizvo nekuti tiri kudzidziswa nevaraidzi vedu kudzidzawo mabasa emaoko.
The Youth Empowerment Forum will run under the theme Accelerated Youth Empowerment for Sustainable Development, Unleashing Youth Potential in Entrepreneurship. Kenya Stifuje, ZBC News, Mutasa.
The graduation ceremony for Lupane State University has been moved to Saturday, the 9th of November 2024. In a public notice, the university's Marketing and Public Relations Directorate advised all graduates and invited guests to take note of the changes, saying the program, however, remains the same. In our next report, the Pan-African Parliament is cementing relations with like-minded international institutions to navigate the challenges of the modern world order. We get more from our news editor, Ian Roma.
The Pan-African Parliament has entered into a mutually beneficial agreement with the National Assembly of Belarus after the two parties signed a memorandum of understanding in Midrand, South Africa this Tuesday. The Pan-African Parliament was represented by PAP President Chief Fortune Charumbira, while the Speaker of the Belarus National Assembly, His Excellency Igor Sergeyenko, signed the Memorandum of Understanding on behalf of the Eastern European country. The agreement is based on strengthening comprehensive cooperation between the Republic of Belarus and PAP member states, which His Excellency Sergeyenko highlighted when he officially opened the fourth session of the Sixth Pan-African Parliament earlier on Monday.
We are interested in establishing substantive cooperation with the African Union and regional integration entities, as well as in using the advantage of the continental free trade area in implementing joint projects. We can significantly expand the scope of cooperation in those areas in which we have succeeded and have sufficient competencies. These are agriculture, food security, industry, education, science and technology, energy.
The two parties also agreed to support each other in discussing issues of mutual interest at international platforms, ensuring effective parliamentary dialogue to counter modern challenges and deepening interaction in various areas of parliamentary activity. Belarus is already working with a number of African countries, including Zimbabwe, where the Eastern European country is supporting the agriculture mechanization program through an agreement signed by President Emmerson Mnangagwa and Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko. Ian Zoma, ZBC News, Midrand.
From Midrand, we're now crossing over to our Montrose studios in Blaoyo, where we join Marilyn Gwenya to give us more news. So very good evening to you, Marilyn.
Good evening and many thanks to you, Joyce and Zane. And now moving on to a rather sad note, historian and cultural luminary Patricia Nyati, who died on Saturday at Mater Dei Hospital in Bulawayo, has been buried at the Lady Stanley Cemetery in Bulawayo.
The funeral service held in honor of the late historian and author Patisa Nyati before burial in Bulawayo this Wednesday was nothing short of a celebration of a life well lived, as the late dedicated his life to the promotion and preservation of African indigenous languages, culture, and values. The luminary, who passed away on Saturday, was plagued with a cocktail of diseases before his demise.
He felt the pain which he thought was a lung pain. He had actually suffered a heart attack. So that was the beginning of a journey that led to his death. So he had been a diabetic patient, also hypertensive. We did discover during that time that he was hospitalized and tests were being done that his kidneys had suffered damage and also it suffered some prostate enlargement at the same time.
Nyati's unique gift of storytelling empowered many as he left a legacy that will last for generations to come.
Ubaba uPhatisa was not just a scholar. He was a passionate advocate for the arts, history, and identity of our people. Through his tireless efforts, he helped to illuminate the stories of our ancestors, bridging the gap between generations.
And he has left this rich tapestry, this rich legacy through the Amagugu Heritage Center, his over 60 books, his columns in various newspapers, and through that he has created a platform for the future, a foundation. We will all have the benefit to go back to those writings, to see his legacy and to teach future generations.
Government recognized his immense contribution to the preservation of national customs and values for the sake of preserving national pride and Ubuntu.
He did a lot for Ndebele language, but he did a lot for Zimbabwe. Kumele sibe le pride yona leyo. Ukuthi omunye wethu did a lot for this country.
He documented and preserved the customs and traditions of Zimbabwean people. Thus, it goes undisputed that Mr. Nyati was a custodian of our rich culture and heritage.
After a 73-year-old journey of immense contribution to Zimbabwe's cultural and historical landscape, the curtain closed on Patisa Nyati this Wednesday at Lady Stanley Cemetery. Grace Sibanda, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Matabeleland North has bolstered its emergency medical response capabilities by expanding its ambulance fleet, ensuring that each of its 7 administrative districts now has a dedicated ambulance.
In a significant milestone for the Second Republic, Matabeleland North has achieved comprehensive ambulance coverage, with all 7 administrative districts now boasting of their own critical ambulance fleet. Locals expressed gratitude to government for responding to their plea for adequate ambulances.
Ama-ambulance la aya kuma-district hospitals eseva ama-district ethu njengokukhankasela okade kusezwa nguZulu ukuthi hayi imota zokuncedisa abantu nxa begula zingane ziyasilela. Siyathaba ukubana uhulumende uyaresponda njengohulumende olalelayo ukuthi ukukhalaza lokukhala kwabantu kube kusenziwa njoba bekhala.
To us it shows the commitment of the government of Zimbabwe through the leadership of His Excellency Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa to improve the health system in the country, specifically for Matabeleland North.
Ngisithanda ukubonga kakhulu ngama-ambulances esiwarecivile eMatabeleland North province avela kuhulumende, and ngisithanda ukumbonga uPresident E.D. Mnangagwa le Second Republic. Our last year we received about 5 ambulances admin districts, and bekule 2 outstanding ibubi lewange, so say asebuyile, so asekwanile wonke angu-7.
Meanwhile, government has also provided buses to facilitate transportation of civil servants in Matabeleland North, enhancing their ability to attend to duties across the province. Mhlamuli Ncube, ZBC News, Hwange.
Government is on a drive to achieve Sustainable Development Goal number 6 on water and sanitation through implementation of the Presidential Borehole Scheme in rural communities.
The El Nino-induced drought affecting the region has plagued Binga district, located about 400 kilometers from Bulawayo in Matabeleland North Province, negatively impacting agricultural activities, livestock health, and access to clean water for the community.
Ogono wikufika bigana manzi mpongo zikupula kwagonwa manzi ali kushupanda wazyonse makunku mupambe skyanzyundu gonse vile manzi ali kushota
manzi ogono ali kushupa sibili so yandikala kuti kube manzi akuti bantu bachane manzi irubono lonse lukubula manzi vile ali kushupa loko manzi akono
kwaskya chilaba kuchibiu tenzi ya manzi lituvulilide kapati manzi mache.
The launch of the presidential bore scheme in Binga villages and wards such as Manjolo, Sinamsanga, Junamina and Bulawayo Kro has transformed the community's water supply situation and its overall sanitation.
Ingombe jakali kufa mbumbuene chisi ichisumba cha ngombe chachibwani pa chayonga zirafuka mpawa but nunuka abaji polani ai kuba mbumbo kwashara yopezira masoko batira manzi ai ngombe ziri mukunywa sibili
bakalumbala ko bamunanga gwanze bakatuyitira bakalumba sibili kabajinkira nembo kabajitugwasya bamunanga gwa nkambo bakajata mulimu bakajata nguzu kambo ano ite bamunanga gwa pali kumana nyota kono okuno ku Black Cloud.
Implementing partners for the program, Prevail International, have already identified other 26 sites in the district which will see the sinking and installation of solar-powered bores to enhance water access.
Here in Manjolo, people are preparing to establish a village business unit which will help enhance the economic status of the village. And whilst we're at that, we are looking forward to even covering a greater scope of work where we're going to go down into other communities such as Kwatakwata and Siachilaba.
Binga is a region characterized by arid climate, and the introduction of the presidential bore scheme in the district is part of government's broader scope and initiative to improve water access in rural areas in line with Sustainable Development Goal number 6. John Nandara, ZBC News, Binga.
And our main news is off to a break. We will return with Joyce and Zain from our Pocket Hill studios in Harare with more.
EcoCash gives you more. EcoCash points are our way of saying thank you for being a loyal customer. You earn points every time you use EcoCash to send money, make payments, buy airtime, or cash out. These points accumulate and can be redeemed for voice airtime, data, or SMS. You can start redeeming your points once you reach 100 points, and redemption is in multiples of hundreds. To redeem or check points balance, dial *151 *7 hash today. Terms and conditions apply. EcoCash gives you more.
Unwrap a world of entertainment with DSTV.
All right.
Wow.
It's who I am. Time for you to see the world.
The only thing that is important is happiness.
That's the reason why I'm here.
Wish me like.
This is where all the fun times are happening. There we go again.
Fantastic goal!
Join me. Experience the magic with DSTV, your home of entertainment.
Welcome back to the main news. In a bid to tackle the prevalence of sexual and gender-based violence in Zimbabwe, the United Nations Population Fund, Zimbabwe Cricket, and the Adult Rape Clinic have joined forces with various government ministries to launch this hashtag 72-hour campaign.
The hashtag 72 Hours campaign initiative aims to improve reporting of sexual and gender-based violence incidents within 72 hours, ensuring survivors have access to life-saving services, including medical treatment and psychological support. The campaign, a collaboration between UNFPA, Zimbabwe Cricket, the Adult Rape Clinic, and various government ministries, aims to reduce barriers faced by survivors in seeking timely assistance.
As an organization, we envision a society where gender-based violence is unthinkable and where sexual reproductive health and rights are respected.
It is imperative that we as healthcare professionals, policymakers, and community members take a proactive stance in responding to and preventing SGBV.
The European Union is committed to supporting the government of Zimbabwe's initiative to address GBV, and the Health Resilience Fund, supported by the EU, together with the UK and Ireland, has been an important contributor to this endeavour.
We are looking forward to engage with Zimbabwe Cricket in pushing the strategy on male engage, because we've realized that we want to engage men as allies. We've always pointed men as perpetrators, but we think they are also agents of change.
Sport is a unifier, educator, and influencer. It has immense power to address the harmful stereotypes, attitudes, and beliefs that contribute to gender inequality and fuel gender-based violence.
UNFPA East and Southern Africa Regional Director Ms. Lydia Zigomo reaffirmed her organization's support in supporting SGBV survivors.
GBV and rape, unfortunately, is a worldwide phenomenon. We are not winning the battle in this regard. More needs to be done. And I think the way in which all the partners have come around the table is an understanding of the fact that more needs to be done in Zimbabwe, just like in Ethiopia, in Kenya, in Namibia, in South Africa, and many other countries that I've been visiting.
Using sport as a platform to raise awareness and promote action, the hashtag 72 Hours campaign aims to create a more supportive environment for survivors of SGBV by promoting awareness, challenging societal norms, and strengthening support services. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
We now jump straight into our business news, where Zimbabwe's telecommunications industry has experienced a surge in the uptake of services from industry and commerce in the third quarter, driven by an ever-rising growth in mobile phone subscriptions.
A Cyber and Data Protection Act meeting held in Harare this Wednesday created a platform for captains of industry and commerce to assess the state of the overall telecommunications industry in light of the country's aspirations of a digital economy. While it measured that notable strides have been achieved to date, the high cost of operations emerged as key cause for concern among mobile phone operators. Giving an update on the overall state of the industry, Postal and Telecommunications Regulatory Authority of Zimbabwe, POTRA's Director General, Dr. Gift Machengete, noted that the country's digital economy agenda is on track, driven by huge milestones in mobile phone subscriptions.
The third quarter has seen an improvement in penetration rates, and it's not just the third quarter. Actually, we have seen increases of penetration rates ever since. We haven't gone down. It's a continuous improvement.
Mobile phone operators revealed that despite operational challenges, increased demand for data services by industry and commerce has emerged as a key revenue earner.
In terms of viability, we are still affected generally by the state of the economy, but in any case, we need to keep on pushing and make sure that, one, we deliver affordable communication to our subscribers, while it's, of course, battling with issues around energy and, of course, other crippling issues within the economy. But in general, I think the outlook is good.
Under the digital economy agenda, Zimbabwe is focusing on ensuring that digital technologies are extended to all parts of the country to stimulate socio-economic development. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
From business, we shift our focus to the arts. More than 10 countries are expected to participate at the African Union Sports Council Region 5 coordinated cultural festival slated for the Heritage Village on the 15th of this month.
The event, aimed at showcasing the diversity of African culture, will see performances from musicians, dancers, poets, and actors from 10 African Union Sports Council member states, including Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe will host the festival as part of the Council's Silver Jubilee commemorations as African countries continue to inspire cultural pride and identity.
Region 5's focus in all our programs, number one is looking at the heritage issues. What kind of legacy do we want to leave? Whether it's sports infrastructure, whether it's a philosophy of sport, whether it is the embedment of our cultural and heritage issues. What sort of legacy do we want to leave as a region? But of course, the cultural heritage becomes critical, and we'll cap that day with a cultural festival that is going to be held, where as part of our Silver Jubilee, because Region 5 celebrates 25 years of existence this year, Zimbabwe is completing or is playing a role in that commemoration by hosting a cultural festival on the 15th of November.
Dance will be an integral part of the cultural festival, with participants showcasing traditional dances from their respective countries. Countries expected to participate at the regional meeting include Angola, Botswana, Eswatini, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Patience Nyagato, SABC News, Harare.
We'll now take a short break. When we return, we'll give you the latest in the world of sport with Anna Shemurumbezi.
This message is brought to you by the government of Zimbabwe.
We are excited! The Regional World Children's Day celebration is coming to Zimbabwe. 16 November, Victoria Falls.
Baba Primary School rose to life.
It is a celebration of Zimbabwe's milestones in children.
A celebration of our rights and responsibilities. Right to education. Right to protection. Right to shelter. Right to food. Right to health. Right to safety.
We are grateful for all the strides the Second Republic has made in child protection, and we are excited to be celebrating these with many children from
Malawi, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, South Africa, Mozambique. You don't want
to miss this.
16 November 2024, Victoria Falls at Baba Primary School. Come and celebrate with us on our Regional World Children's Day celebration.
Whether you run a hotel, lodge or guest house, keep your guests entertained and coming back for more with DSTV for Business. Our DSTV stay package options match your needs and budget. Make your visitor stay unforgettable with the best channels for sport, blockbuster movies and series, kids inspiration, lifestyle, documentaries, news and more. Contact us today and let your guests experience your business at its best with DSTV for Business.
EcoCash gives you more. EcoCash points are our way of saying thank you for being a loyal customer. You earn points every time you use EcoCash to send money, make payments, buy airtime, or cash out. These points accumulate and can be redeemed for voice airtime, data, or SMS. You can start redeeming your points once you reach 100 points, and redemption is in multiples of hundreds. To redeem or check points balance, dial *151 *7 hash today. Terms and conditions apply. EcoCash gives you more.
Welcome to the Sports Corner. Anna Shemurumbezi here with the latest in the world of sport. Starting off with the good news for the Shamba community. Simba Bora are now the 2024 Premier Soccer League champions after dispatching relegated Arno Movers 1-0 at Luvava Stadium this Wednesday.
Coming so close to winning the championship with former champions Ngezi Platinum Stars and missing it with Dynamos. Tonderai Ndira has finally got it right with Simba Bora, who have claimed their maiden Premier Soccer League title in their second season in the top flight. Ndira was on cloud 9 after winning the championship crown.
It has been, I'll probably start with the game today. It was not an easy match.
but we came here with a plan. Of course, the plan was for us to finish the job that we started at the beginning of the season. So yeah, we had so much pressure before we played Cape United on Saturday. So much pressure on us as a team. That result was very important for us. Of course, every result is important, but that game for us as a club, as a team, was a make or break one. So we got a good result.
12th men invaded Luveve Stadium to witness history being made by the club, which went all the way to lure good talent on the domestic scene. Elsewhere, Bikita Minerals beat Highlanders 2-0 to take their survival quest to the next match. Greenfield edged Wange 1-0 as FC Platinum also edged the Bulawayo Chiefs with the same margin. Chicken Inn and Ngezi Platinum Stars drew 1-1. ZPC Kariba and Dynamos played to a goalless draw and the Rentals beat Chegutu Pirates 1-0. Action continues this Thursday when Manica Diamonds host Yard at Sakuva, while Capes United face Tier 1 at Rufaro. Mchokozi Stube, ZPC News, Bulawayo.
Meanwhile, ambitious Northern Region Division 1 side Scotland are confident they will secure promotion to the Premier Soccer League as they currently sit at the summit of the log with one game to go.
Mavuku-based Scotland FC are 2 points ahead of Moss going into the final match day set for this Friday. Scotland are already looking forward to playing in at the top flight as they are confident they will get over the line when they face Black Mambas this Friday. The well-funded side have already secured a 30-year lease with the Harare City Council, which will see them constructing a stadium in Mavuku at the number 1 grounds.
We are planning on building a stadium in Mavuku. We've recently signed a 30-year lease to rehabilitate Mavuku number 1 ground. So we're going to revamp that entire stadium. I think the patron was talking about putting a 15,000 seater so we can fit as many people in there. And the facilities are not just going to be confined to Scotland. We're going to have inter-schools there. There's going to be an open pool where schools can compete. Kids in Mavuku can now swim. They can come for training, and there'll be inter-schools competitions at that Mavuku number 1 stadium.
Scotland are currently hosting matches at Rufaro Stadium. Lawrence Tusira, ZBC News, Harare.
Away from football, the Zimbabwe women's 7 side, the Lady Cheetahs, are gearing up for the Rugby Africa Cup Women's Sevens tournament set for Accra, Ghana at the weekend.
Zimbabwe has been going through their paces since August as they seek to challenge continental heavyweights for a place among the world's best teams. The top 3 teams in Accra will qualify for the 2025 Challenger Series, a year-long competition where all the top teams play. Zimbabwe under the guidance of veteran coach Cyprian Mandenge, who has assembled a squad that has a mixture of youthful exuberance and calm experienced heads.
The policy is very clear. What you put in is what you get. I don't really look at the age much as you also want to mix, but we're playing for something. We are not just going there to make numbers. So whoever is going to put up their hand to say, I'm prepared, I'm going to give something to the nation, is the one that I'll select. That's how we selected. So yeah, there will be time for us to groom other players. We've mixed. We've got some exciting young players that are coming in, but really our policy is what you put in is what you get.
This year's tournament brings together 12 teams at full strength, featuring nations such as 2023 reigning champions South Africa, Kenya, Tunisia, Burkina Faso, Madagascar, Ghana, Mauritius, Uganda, Zambia, Cote d'Ivoire and Zimbabwe. The Lady Cheetahs are in Pool A together with neighbors South Africa, Tunisia and Burkina Faso. Meanwhile, the Lady Cheetahs have since left for Ghana this Wednesday. Lawrence Tusira, ZBC News, Harare.
The Lady Cheetahs concludes the Sports Corner tonight. Weather report and focus is up next.
Hello there and welcome. It is time for your evening weather report and forecast. My name is Benjamin Kwaramba. Well, rainfall activity yesterday into today as moisture continues to drift in from the west. We had isolated thunder showers, especially over the northern areas of the country, and while cool and moist southeasterlies continue to draw in from the southeast. Right, in the red images received this afternoon, they show what transpired in terms of rainfall activity, where we had some rains over the Manicaland area, Mashonaland East, as well as parts of Harare. Mashonaland West and Mashonaland Central provinces, and some parts of the Midlands. Now we show you some of the highest falls in that occurred this afternoon from the radar images. Those areas in yellow and red receiving most amounts where 124 millimeters was reported near the Bechnel Bridge and Marangi areas. The same happening for areas around Nyazura and Rusape, while other areas had falls of about 50 millimeters. In the satellite images received this afternoon, they show cloudy conditions across the country, and this should continue as we move into the week. Those areas appearing some green colors should be having some form of rainfall activity. Now, for us, minimum temperatures expected tomorrow. Harare should have a minimum of 18, Bulawayo 18 again, Victoria Falls 23, Chiredzi 20, Gwanda 17, Masvingo 18, and Gweru 16 degrees Celsius. Maximum temperatures Harare 31, Bulawayo 32, 38 at Kariba. Very hot conditions at Kariba there. The same for Victoria Falls. For the detailed forecast for Masvingo, windy and cool conditions expected over Masvingo, and same for Gwanda. Same for Machopos again, windy conditions on Thursday and Friday. It should be cloudy and windy in those areas. Same for Bulawayo, with your maximum temperatures in the lower 30s. For Gweru again, your maximum temperatures in the lower 30s. Marondera we should be having isolated thunder showers here and there, with your maximum temperatures rather in the lower 30s. Harare, windy conditions on Thursday. Kwekwe again, isolated thunderstorms expected here and there. Kadoma, with your maximum temperatures in the upper 30s, isolated thunderstorms are expected again from time to time. The same for Chinoi, Lupane. Maximum temperatures in the lower 30s. Victoria Falls again, your maximum temperatures 38 and 40 degrees expected over the weekend. Bindura, isolated showers expected with your maximum temperatures in the lower 30s. Nyanga, cool conditions, maximum temperatures in the upper 20s. Well, Zimbabwe, that does it in tonight's edition of the weather report and forecast. Let's make a date again tomorrow at the same time. Good evening, Zimbabwe.
Well, that caps tonight's bulletin. From the crew behind the scenes and all of us here, good night.
Good night.